Join me as I service a Beta 38 Marinized diesel engine. This is the engine we'll be working on. Here we have the gearbox, heat exchanger, oil will go in here later. This is the secondary alternator that charges the leisure system, and this is the primary alternator that charges the starter battery and also runs the water pump for the cooling system. This is a keel-cooled engine, so that water pump pushes water through the engine and through two skin tanks. Over here is the injector pump, and here is the air filter. Diesel engines are very, very simple things really. They only require air, fuel and compression to run. Here we have the flow and return lines from the diesel tank to the engine. From the flow pipe it comes down to this wasp type filter here. And from here comes down the rest of the pipework through to the primary filter that's on the engine. This is all the low pressure side of the system, that is why it has soft pipework. And from here we get to the injector pump. From the injector pump onwards it is high pressure, so everything will be hard piped. These are the filters we're using. We have an oil filter, a fuel filter and an air filter. First thing we're going to do is extract the oil. I would normally run the engine to get the oil warm, that just makes it very easy to extract. But since the customer motored the boat to me this morning, it's already very warm. As you can see, this extract pump is not very easily located. I can't get anything underneath it. So here I am using my vacuum pump and I'm going to take the old oil out through the dipstick. Then we're going to remove the oil filter. As you can see, it is massively inaccessible. It was very difficult to get some grips on this. Boat builders do not think about the people that will need to maintain these boats long term, so everything's just crammed in there. This is where it's useful to be teeny tiny. Now the old filter is off, I'm going to replace it with the new filter. I'm just going to pop a little bit of oil on here just to lubricate the seal at the top, so when I'm putting it on, don't be childish, it just means it won't pinch. I am mature, I promise. So now we're going to change the air filter. We're going to just take this cover off the front, remove the old filter and pop the new one in. This is actually really quite clean. Some that we've taken out prior have been disgusting. Here's the shiny new one. Just going to pop that in. It seals on there quite easily. One in, one out. Very, very easy job. The job itself is easy, but trying to do it while balancing, not knocking any of the pipework and trying to record at the same time, very, very challenging. So as part of our service, we do also want to check the coolant hoses that are running through it, just for any signs of wear, any weeping anywhere. So we'll just give those all a check over, just make sure they're not rubbing against anything they shouldn't be, or there's no signs of perishing. And same with the engine mounts, we're just going to make sure there's no contamination on there, because contamination can degrade them. So just giving those a check over. I do check these with a spanner as well, just to make sure all the nuts are tight. Now we're going to go over and check the gearbox oil. So we're just going to take the dipstick from the top. I have already done this, so this is I'm just doing this to show you. Just checking that the level is correct and the quality of the oil as well. So now we're going to look at the fuel filters. We're going to turn off the flow and return valves. That will enable us to take the filters off, check them, change them without it getting messy. So first off, we're looking at the wasp filter. There is a drain plug underneath, very difficult, but I'll try and show you. So we're going to drain it down first, hopefully, before we take it apart. So I took the drain plug out and nothing came out. That suggests that it's probably a little bit blocked. So I'm just taking off the housing bolts. This is what came out of the bottom. So that's a little bit of sediment. Sediment is expected. You are going to get that in your tanks. It just means the filter's doing what it needs to do. So usually marine engines will use red diesel. They'll run on red diesel. But the customer has told me that they have been using both red and white diesel. So while I would normally expect this to be cherry red, it is actually this weird colour. It does have quite a little bit of water in it as well, which I did speak with the customer about. And just explain to the customer that really they should be taking the drain plug off maybe once a month, just letting the water run out because they do run their engine quite regularly. The idea of that filter is that the water being heavier will sink to the bottom and the diesel will pass over the top. So that's the filter and that's the housing, giving all this a clean up. So now we're on to the primary filter. This filter was very clean, so that does suggest that the wasp filter is doing exactly what it needs to be doing. This is a threaded filter, so unscrew it, replace it and thread it back on. These only ever need to go on hand tight. I don't know what gorillas in the marine industry sometimes keep really jamming them on, but it's unnecessary. They only need to be hand tight. So this is a modern engine and it does have an electric fuel pump, which means that it will automatically bleed. So as soon as I turn the key into the first position, the fuel pump will kick in and it will just start pushing the fuel back around the system. If it didn't have this, like some of the older engines do, I would have to open the bleed points and try and draw fuel through to each point. So to the wasp filter, to the primary filter, and then to the injector pump. You need to make sure it gets as far as the injector pump and then the high pressure side will take over. So engine was tested, all seems to be running, no leaks found, happy customer ready to cruise the London canals. Thanks for watching.